Hey everyone! The VOD you're about to watch was originally live streamed on Twitch, but I know some of you prefer a different platform to watch on or to watch whenever you want at your leisure. Or maybe it's years from now and you're just now joining us and checking out my archives. And either way, welcome. I typically stream on Twitch on Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you'd like to join us live, you can find the links to my Twitch page and all of my other social media down in the description. I am just starting out, so bear with me, style under construction. If you have any comments or feedback, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you'd like this, I'd really like it if you would like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I'm very grateful. I'm super excited about this content that I'm creating, and I hope you guys are too. I love hearing from you. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks a bunch. Right, remember to turn my mic on. That helps. Hello. Well, I put up a poll on Instagram, and apparently I am cross-stitching today. Morning. So this is my current cross-stitch project. As you can see from the pattern that I've got up on the screen, it actually is technically a monochrome pattern, but I find that very boring, so I'm just stitching it in whatever colors I want. So hopefully this camera's good enough to give you guys a decent view of what I'm doing. Also, Merlin, thank you for the layouts. They look lovely. And that starting soon screen is super useful because then I can have the stream up while I'm posting links to my stream. Yeah, I had it behind the video, but it cuts off part of the pattern. Because of the way it's cropped, it's sort of a weird size. I figured that tiny little sliver of video wouldn't really be necessary, even though it doesn't look super neat. But, yeah. I mean, I can clip it behind. I guess that does look neater, doesn't it? Oh, everything I do is a choice, except the things that are not. I am using gradient thread. Um, Kaylee found, we were at Michael's and DMC had some of their like special edition variegated multi-packs on, so I ended up buying a couple. Because when my wife cross stitches, she's very by the book. She prefers to follow the pattern exactly, and if it says this color, I'm going to use that color. Whereas clearly I'm a little bit more avant-garde, and I love using the variegated threads. They're so much fun. I even have like, I've got really, well, not shitty, but like I've got like the off-brand third-party like friendship bracelet threads that I can technically use as well. So I've got a whole variety, which is actually what this is. This isn't, this particular green, purple, blue one I think is one of the tie-dye ones, as opposed to one of the fancy DMC ones. But yeah, I've got a whole, there's one particular seller on Etsy. I think it's, I want to say it's 2x2 Designs. His name should be at the bottom here. Yeah, 2x2 Stitch Art. They do monotone patterns like this on Etsy. And I have a ton of their patterns. Just because I find them, I find it's really, really cool to, you know, just contrast it against the fabric rather than doing like a solid picture. And creating patterns with the thread color. So yeah, anytime I'm doing cross stitch, it'll probably be one of these as opposed to like a more static like painting image that you might be used to seeing from cross stitch. Come on, get in the hole. Oh wait, that might be against Twitch TOS. Never mind. So no Sasha today. She's still banned from the craft room, but her fur is not. So yeah, the quilt from last week, yeah, it's still spread across the floor. Kaylee's been helping me stitch the rows together. And we're through probably between a third and a half. So we're actually making pretty good time. And once I've got them all stitched into rows, I'll let Sasha back in because the rows are much easier to put back in their proper places as opposed to 8 million tiny little half hexagons. But yeah, she's very mad that she's not been allowed in here. So hopefully by next week I'll be able to let her back in and she can roll all over my lap for stream. Make sure it's not bunching in the back. Yeah, we're good. most annoying thing about cross stitch is when you get like a loop of thread on the back side that gets caught, and then you don't notice until like 10 stitches later and you have to rip it all out or tighten it all, which is worse. There we go. Aww, but they love you, Merlin. Like all the animals? Don't you have like, wait, 5, no, 4, 2 dogs, 2 cats? Someday I'll learn. Yeah. And then your brother has a dog that sometimes comes to visit too, right? The little one? Aww, babies. I presume the cat probably doesn't come visit you though. I could be wrong. Oh. Nifty. I love cats. I'm very much more a cat person than a dog person. Yeah, that makes sense. Once I get off stream today, I actually have to walk the 2 blocks over to Christy's place and take care of Ollie. She's gone for the weekend. Cats are definitely easier to take care of. And I'm not a particularly high energy person. So any dog that requires like walking and playing, and I mean cats require play too, but not to the extent most dogs do. Okay, I will. I took a couple yesterday. But I'll make sure to take some today too, and I'll put them up in your Discord. Ollie is beautiful. It was terrible yesterday. My wife went with me, and we walked in, and he came over and rubbed around our ankles, and then immediately ran over to the food bowl. Because this cat is so dumb. Well, I don't know. He's a social eater. He doesn't like eating when he's by himself, which is why I go over to cat sit him. Because otherwise he just won't eat if Christy's not home. And it's very sad. But he's such a derp. He lays down to eat. I got a picture of that yesterday. I'll post it up after I get off stream. But like, he'll flop over on his food bowl, or like beside his food bowl. And then he'll reach out a paw and like grab kibble out of the bowl onto the floor and then just kind of munch it off the floor. It's ridiculous to watch. But yeah, he was being very sweet yesterday. He came up and laid on top of us and purred, as he always does. Yeah, I gotta go see Ollie, and then when I'm done, when I get back from seeing Ollie, Kaylee and I are gonna make buns again. Dumpling buns. Kaylee made the filling for them yesterday, so when I get back from Ollie's, I will roll out the dough and fill them and bake them so that we have dinner tonight and lunch tomorrow. We're making taco buns this time. So rice and meat and cheese and beans all wrapped up in delicious dumpling goodness. Very yum. I'm very excited. Did I say cheese? There's going to be so much cheese. Because thanks to our food subscription box thing, we realized how easy it is to make dumplings. So we're like, you know what? We can just make dumplings whenever we want with whatever filling we want. Because here's the pro strat. The dumpling like dough is actually just pizza dough, or at least you can just use pizza dough. Yeah, dumplings are incredibly delicious. The ones that we made with the meal box were like a more traditional Chinese dumpling, of course. They were spiced beef and cabbage. Those were really, really good. But I love me a good taco. So I was like, I wonder if we can make like cheesy burrito dumplings. So we're gonna go for it. But yeah, dumplings in any form. Ugh. Meat and carbs with just like a little bit of veg is my ideal food. Ah, come on. My thread is starting to twist. I think it's to do, just let it unwind here. I think it's to do with the way that I hold it and the way that I stitch. It ends up getting twisted in on itself a lot. I mean, tips in like what sort of tips? I mean, honestly, it's kind of like what you were saying earlier. You just kind of got to jump in and mess around with it, and you'll eventually sort of pick up your own tips. I think cross stitching is one of those things where you can be taught how to do it, and then everybody kind of develops their own sort of habits and their own, I guess, best methods for doing it. Because I'm sure I cross stitch differently than my wife does. Or I know I cross stitch differently than my wife does. I would say if you're doing like a pattern, like I know the kit that you ordered, Merlin, or like the kind of picture cross stitching my wife does, go color by color is usually the way that it's recommended you do it. So like if you have, you know, a certain shade of blue, if your pattern is small enough, go through the whole pattern and do all that color. Or if your pattern is larger, section it off and maybe just do, you know, one section of it, but do that and do every stitch of that color. Because if you're trying to go like row by row or stitch by stitch, you'll end up switching colors way more often than you need to. That's also why I was recommending for a beginner to find a pattern that has a lot of like large blocks of the same color, because that's much easier. Like for instance on this one, so here these leaves, even though it's variegated thread, but like this was all one length of thread. So going through and doing just this leaf, you know, row by row is much easier than, or like here, you can see I already did the black and gray rails on the sides, and now I'm going back and filling in the zigzag in the middle. If I was trying to switch back and forth and just do row by row and go, okay, I need one stitch of black, and then I need one stitch of the blue, and then I need another stitch of the black, that's making it way harder than it needs to be.
So I would say just take a real good look at your pattern, sort of plan out, okay, I'll do this section and I'll do this color first, and then I'll do this bit next. You're always going to end up with sort of the odd stitches at the end where it's like, oh, well, you know, this picture, this cat has eyes, and those are the only stitches of green in the whole pattern is the eyes. So you're always going to have like the sections of just a few stitches, but it's easiest to go back and fill those in at the end, I think. As for like starting and finishing your thread, that's another thing that beginners tend to have a lot of trouble with. Once I get to the end here, you'll actually get to see how I do it, and usually the best way to do it, because with cross stitch you actually don't want to knot your thread necessarily. Because with the Ida cloth, so you can see it's a very loose weave and it's got the gridding on it and the holes in it for stitching. So your knot could just pull through the Ida cloth, and B, it creates a lot of unnecessary lumps, because a lot of the time with cross stitching you're going to want to frame it afterwards and make it into wall art or something similar, so you want it to try to lay as flat as possible. Once I get to the end here, I'll show you the back of mine, and show you how I secure that. But yeah, I can poke Kaylee too to see if she's got any tips for you. But yeah, I'm not a super pro cross stitcher by any means either. I just kind of like, I don't know, I even like, this is clearly cross stitch, but like I almost am more inclined to call it art rather than, like, I don't know, it is cross stitch, but it's not the same sort of cross stitch as what Kaylee does, where it's the solid patterns forming essentially a painting. And then I know typically once you're working within your color, you would go row by row. So again, here, let me get my needle up so I can use it as a pointer. So because of the way crosses are formed, I don't know if you can tell just watching me, but I'm always stitching them in the same direction. So like I'm always starting at the bottom left and going to the top right, and then underneath going down to the bottom and then going back up. So the easiest way to do it in rows is, let's see, what's the easiest one to see? Probably up here. So I would go along, and I'll do a bigger chunk next so that you can see what I mean. But I would go along and do, so go and do the first bars of the entire row, and then do the second bars going back. So it's kind of like a typewriter motion. You go across one row and then you come back. And so like here there's a gap. Well, I would do 1, 2, and then underneath skip and start and stay in the same row, because that's not too much of a gap. So I would do, you know, 1, 2, skip under there, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, skip underneath, 1, 2, and then drop down to the next row. So, and again, because this is all one color, I think I did do it by individual leaves just to keep myself tidy. But you could, if you knew this was all going to be one color, you could just sort of typewriter across the entire section of here if you wanted to. But again, yeah, so in a more typical pattern, this might all be filled in by another color. Like maybe there would be a green background here, but it's the same sort of idea. You could go, you know, do these four, skip, do these two, go back, finish all of your orange, and then go back in with the green and do the same thing where you're just sort of filling in the gaps, if that makes sense. Sasha. More cat hair. Because the way you make, the easiest way to do neat and tidy cross stitch is to just stick with the same color and the same thread as long as you possibly can. Because if you're constantly like cutting and switching threads, it's going to make for a very, very messy back. And it's just going to make a lot of unnecessary chaos, if that makes sense. So you want to try to stick with the same color and the same thread for as long as you can. Ooh. No, I'm good. Okay. Getting down to the end of my thread here, but luckily I've only got a few more stitches. Should be able to make it. Come on. Nope. There we go. Okay. Gotta actually consult my pattern. Does that have another stitch on it, or does it just end there? No. Okay. One more. Thank goodness. Thank you. Hi, Sabrina. Yeah, and this is the kind of like live stream I enjoy watching too. Like I just like watching people do their stuff, right? And so I was like, I can, I'll just do that myself. All right, so I'm gonna flip this over. So you can see on the back here, it's mostly straight lines because it's you know, it's mostly dropping down to the next row, or to do the bottom stitch. I'm not describing this well at all. But you should end up with mostly vertical lines on your back. And so the way I'm going to anchor this, see if I can get a good grip here. So I'm going to take my needle with my thread and just sort of loop it underneath some of the stitches. Try to get 2 or 3 of them. Ooh. Well, good. I'm glad you guys could join us. Like, yeah, use this as a craft along. All right, so I'm gonna loop this underneath a couple of the stitches, just once or twice, 3 times. If you have a longer line, like you see some of them here, I looped them under like 4 or 5 stitches. That's perfect. You just want to secure it enough that it's not going to slide out. Come on. And there, that's secured. So I'm just gonna, I don't need to knot it because it's looped under those threads. Where'd my scissors go? There they are. So I am gonna leave a little bit of a tail to it, because if you snip it too close to where it's looped under, it could sort of work its way out over time. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave a little bit of a tail, but just snip it and leave it. All right, what section do I want to do next? Do I have something that's a little bit chunkier? I mean, I could fill in this green here. That would require me to, ugh, that's right on the line between pages, isn't it? That's why I haven't done that yet. Where's my next page? Yeah, that's right in between those two. But okay. All right, I think that's my highest stitch there. So I'm gonna need that green if I'm gonna fill in here. Which I was smart enough to pre-pull it. I think that's the same. Yeah, it's the same green. So with this cross stitch too, I'm doing 2 strands, just because I like making it so that it's very obvious crosses. If you want it to be more solid blocks, you can use 3 strands, or some patterns I think would even call for 4, but 2 I think tends to be the standard. So this is, like you've already noticed with your embroidery, this is 6 strands woven together. So I'm just going to attempt to separate 2 of them. There we go. And I always find that pulling back along the length of the thread and letting it sort of untwist itself is more useful than trying to pull it apart, because then you're going to end up with tangles. So just kind of pull it back along the length of the thread. And then you have your other 4 strands here, ready to go for the next bit. Thread. Oh, and another thing that might not be super obvious about cross stitch is this is not a sharp needle. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but this is extremely blunt. There's a little bit of a point on it so that it can go through the Ida cloth, but it's not sharp in the least. This is a specific cross stitch needle. And it's just, it's much easier to handle. There's not a risk of stabbing yourself with it. And also, if you have a needle that's too sharp, you might end up going between the threads of the fabric. It's not a huge deal. It's just something that people tend to prefer if they're cross-stitching. Sorry, take a drink here. All right. Okay. So to start a thread, let me figure out where I'm going here. Okay, so this leaf, I need the 4th stitch over and then a gap of 2 below. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think there. I'm just double checking because, like I said, this particular leaf is spread across 2. Is that where I want that? Yeah, I think that's where I want that. Yes, okay. Because that's 2 over and then a gap of 1 on that row. Yep, okay, cool. Oop. Come on. Here we go. I said scroll, not zoom. Nope, not that. There we go. Okay. All right. So that's where I want it to be, but I want to come up from the bottom. Come on. There we go. Okay. So again, this isn't super ideal because it's only going to be a row of 2. It would be nice if it was a little bit of a longer row. That's all right. So I'm going to pull it through until I have just a little bit of a tail on the back. There. I'm going to hold the tail down with my thumb. And then when I make my stitches, sorry, trying to make sure you get a good view of this. So I'm going to loop it down over the tail and put it through so that when I tighten this loop, it's over top of the tail and locks it down. Hopefully you can see that decently, or I'm explaining it well. And then as I do the next stitch in the row, cat hair, I'm gonna do the same thing. Come on. Where I'm looping it over that tail. There. And then pulling it tight to lock it down. So that's how you're supposed to start a cross stitch thread without knotting it. Hey Lux, good morning. Or good time of the day wherever you are. I put up a poll on my Instagram last night and the vote was for cross stitch, so I am cross stitching today. And Merlin is just starting to cross stitch, so I'm kind of narrating what I'm doing as best I can so that they get a good idea of how to go about it. Oh, come on, don't do this. There we go. Thread deciding to loop around my embroidery hoop. All right. Now, I want to go backwards one and another. Oh no. There we go. I've heard of Core Keeper. I've been looking at Core Keeper actually. I haven't played it yet, but yeah, it does look really nice. And I do love me some Stardew Valley. Because that's the one where you're like, you're in a cave, right? And you've got to build, you've got to explore and build your own survival, like home base kind of thing, while also exploring deeper into the caves to like gather resources and stuff. Oh, nice. Enjoy, Luke's. Yeah, I'll definitely have to take a look at it then, because that sounds like exactly the kind of game I enjoy. Oh, speaking of games though, so my wife and I have been watching a lot of like Pokemon challenge videos on YouTube where people are like, um, can I beat Pokemon Yellow with nothing but this Magikarp? Watch me hurt myself. Um, and it's extremely entertaining and it's making me want to do like Nuzlocke runs. So I'm thinking on Wednesday nights I'm gonna start playing Pokemon on stream for a couple hours. Oh, and then this one has... come on. Thread looping around my... There we go. And this one actually has a... Missed it. Single stitch back here. I don't know exactly what time Wednesday night yet. I'm off at 4:30 usually on Wednesdays, so probably around 6-ish is when I'll start Eastern time. I don't know how long I'll go for, probably just 2, maybe 3 hours. But yeah, let's play some Pokemons. I love them. And I'm thinking I'm gonna do it with a randomizer on too. So there's this piece of software called the Universal Pokemon Randomizer. Let's see if I scoot back to... Sorry, just muttering about my pattern. There's this piece of software called the Universal Pokemon Randomizer that will let you... it'll let you do a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, this is what I meant about loops on the back. So it was starting to tighten in on itself. So I just need to make sure it doesn't tighten into an actual knot. Why are you doing this to me? Yeah, so it'll let you do a whole bunch of stuff. It'll let you randomize a Pokemon's movesets. It'll let you randomize what they evolve into. So you could catch a Pikachu that then just randomly evolves into a Charizard. It'll let you... So I think what I'm going to do, at least for my first playthrough, is I'm going to randomize the Pokemon locations. So Route 1, instead of being Pidgey and Rattata, maybe suddenly it's, Starly and Pachirisu. But I'm gonna leave like their movesets and all of that alone. So the idea is to train Pokemon that I usually wouldn't train or usually wouldn't catch. But the Pokemon themselves are unchanged. If I end up doing other playthroughs later, maybe I'll do something crazier. Who knows? We'll see how far it gets. But yeah, Pokemon's fun, so I'm looking forward to that. And with the Nuzlocke challenge, I'm going to be playing with the rule. It's going to be a fairly loose, easygoing challenge. Oh god, yeah, I love the randomizer. I think the rule set I'm going to play with is I can only catch one, like the first Pokemon I encounter in each route. So if I run into a Bidoof first, well then heck, I'm training a Bidoof. And then if a Pokemon faints, it's dead. I have to put it in a box and not touch it again. So I've been doing one on like my own time that's been really fun. So I think I'll start one for stream and we'll see how it goes. I think I'm gonna do Gen 4 first, just because Diamond and Pearl are probably my favorites of the games. And also that gives me the most amount of Pokemon. Because I've had trouble in the past finding a Gen 5 game that works on the works on the emulator I have. But I could look into that more. Oh, come on. It's because this length of thread is so long. It keeps tangling in on itself. Okay, is that just a row of 2? I hate having to scroll back and forth. 1, 2. Yeah, that's just a row of 2. I can also look, it's actually the same as what's over here, just flipped. So, no, that should be a row of... First one. Oh no, it's backwards. So 2, 2 and 1, yeah, and then 2. Okay, yeah, 2 and 2. Oh, if you want to, Merlin. I was just gonna use the save. Oh, that's a problem. That's cat fur. I was just gonna use the same Patch Witch layover, but by all means, if you wanted to. See if I can tighten this a little bit. That is that's another tip I'd give you, Merlin, is make sure your fabric is good and tight in the hoop. It just makes it much easier to stitch. If it's like sagging and super loose, it makes it way more annoying than it needs to be to stitch it. And you can get hoops in all different sizes. This one, I think this is like a 9-inch, which is fairly standard, and you can get them, this one's wood, but you can get them in plastic too. I think you can even get metal ones, although I don't know why you'd want to. Straight down, and then 3. Come on. Here we go. Come on. I mean, I think this is why most people... Alright, this is annoying. Just gonna adjust my hoop here. Can I just slide it? No, probably not. I have to pop it, don't I? Let's put that annoying ketchup there. where it should have been in the first place. And you'll notice the edges of my fabric are taped. It's just painter's tape. It's just a good way to keep the edges of your fabric, because you can see here the Ida cloth has a raw edge. So taping it just keeps it from fraying too much while you're working with it. Some kits will even come with the Ida cloth like pre-hemmed on it, which is really nice. And I could have hemmed this instead of taping it. I just was lazy. I don't know. I don't remember why I initially just taped it. So 2. No, I think it's 3. Yeah, 3. Okay. So you can see here where I've got the gaps in the rows. I'm just kind of skipping over the empty stitches and going on to the next ones. And it's kind of up to you to decide how much of a gap is too much of a gap. If there's a gap of more than about 4 stitches, I will usually not jump that gap and just do it as a separate section. And also dropping down vertically is much easier than, so like for these gray and black edge sections, I actually just did like 2 vertical lines instead of trying to hop back and forth, because that just makes the back look neater. But then for something like these leaves or these petals, it's much easier to just go all the way across and jump the small gaps rather than trying to do each little mini petal individually. But I mean, it's kind of personal preference. If you wanted to, you could totally do each little mini petal individually and either just hop the thread between them when you finish each petal or cut and reattach it each time. Again, it's up to you. That feels a little bit like a waste of thread to me, but that's kind of what I meant about each person develops sort of their own style and their own methods of doing it. Because, I mean, the little old ladies will tell you, oh yes, there's definitely a right way to cross stitch, but there's really not. If you're having fun and the front looks neat, who cares what the back looks like? I mean, unless you're entering it in a county fair or something. So, I mean, any way of stitching is valid, honestly, as long as it works for you. and it feels comfortable to you. So you just kind of have to play around and test the methods that work best for you. So just because I'm going all the way across and doing full rows doesn't mean you have to if that feels weird to you or feels unnatural to you. All right, next I will, okay. And this is what I meant about kind of figuring out how far you're comfortable skipping the thread, because I've got, so 2 and then 3 and then, yeah, so the next row down, got an empty one. So I've got stitches that start all the way back here. So it's going to be a jump of about 3 boxes. So you can see here I've got a little bit of a jump in the thread, but I'm okay with that. That works for me. So 2. Figure out a way. I wonder if there's a way to, like, I don't think there is because I've got the very basic PDF package, but I wonder if there's a way to, like, no, I can't, like, drop a marker because you guys can't see my cursor. So I can't, like, drop a marker in the area where I'm working. I'll look into that, see if I can figure out a way to do that. So you can tell at a glance what area I'm working in. I do also have my pattern covering my video at the moment, so if my video is going wonky or I've drifted and I'm working too far out of frame, please let me know. Alright, how long is that one? So 2. Gap of 2, yeah. Yeah. Seam rippers are... maybe Merlin? I've got my pattern open on a PDF though, so I'm not sure if I would have to make it work in the PDF or if I could make it work in OBS. even just like, I don't know, drawing a circle or being able to drop a token just to let viewers know, like, hey, look at this area of the pattern. But yeah, Dobby, seam rippers are super useful. I actually just had to go and buy a couple more because I don't know where mine went. I was stitching together the quilt top and had to redo a couple seams, and I don't know where my seam ripper went. I mean, if it's just a seam or two, you can make do with a pair of very pointy scissors, but it's not ideal. Seam rippers are handy to have. Oh no. Yeah, seam ripper's definitely probably the better way to go then. It cuts your labor immensely. Oh, yep, that would do it. I've definitely had some shirts like that. Ooh. Merlin, you're the best. Let's see. Oh, I didn't mean to open that in that window, but that's all right. 1 second. I guess it's because that's the Chrome window I had active. And then ooh, that's real pretty. Yeah, perfect. That way you can at least see which area of the pattern to look at. I'll just have to remember when I'm scrolling my window. Ha ha ha. Thank you, Merlin. You're the best. Okay. Now I pull that back up. Okay. So I need to go back 1. Oh hey, Burning Emerald, thank you for the follow. Sorry I just now noticed that, it only just now popped. again, this is the downside of having my pattern overlaid over my video. But I need to be able to see it. And I don't have a second monitor, so this is how we're doing it. More cat hair. I usually don't care, except that Sasha's a black cat, and when you have black cat hair that's stitched into this, it does tend to be pretty noticeable. So I try to keep this one clean. Alright, 4. Skip 1. And then that's all the way across to an overhang of 2. Okay. Ah! Stop that. I got it? Yes, excellent. Adventures with Knots. Hi Kuma, good morning. Or, I guess good afternoon, at least for me. Thread hang to unwind a bit. Oh, and next Sunday's stream is going to be a little bit shorter. I'll probably only go for 2 hours instead of 3. Because we have inventory at my workplace next Sunday. So I'm having to go in the afternoon and evening to help out with that. But I might have a bonus stream on Monday since I have that off instead. So TBD. But I'll probably end up doing something on the Monday, whether it's Pokemon or more sewing. We'll see how I feel after being at work until midnight on Sunday. But yeah, I'll usually announce stuff like that on my Insta stories and probably also on Twitter if you want to keep an eye out. Marilyn, are you working on anything this morning? Besides troubleshooting my layouts like a boss? I mean, sketching is still sketching. So next... Oh, hey, Kate. Thank you for the raid. You were coding, eh? Did you get a lot done? I was gonna pop in, but I had to finalize my layout and things. Oh no! Was it at least entertaining? That's like your secondary. I mean, that's still progress. The writing still needs to be done. You have done things, and that is the important part. Now see here, it's a gap of all the way across, so I probably should have finished that bit before skipping back here, but whatever. It's fine. Yeah, exactly. If you had done the coding and not the documentation, well then nobody but you would know what was going on. And I'm gonna guess after a couple days, not even you would know what was going on. But that's just my impression of coding as a non-coder. And then, so it's 2 with no overlap, which means there? Yeah, there. Thank you, Kite. If you look at the pattern in the corner there, it is technically a monochrome pattern. And I looked at it and went, nah, I'm just gonna do what I want. So I've just kind of been choosing the colors as I go. And yeah. So it's half cross stitch, half art piece. Typically a cross stitch pattern would have all sorts of different symbols to denote what color you're supposed to use where. This one, since it's all supposed to be one color, not so much. So I'm just making stylistic choices as I go. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with how it's come so far. I am, actually, yes. So these are all variegated threads. But the pattern where you see it's all little squares, it's all meant to be done in one color. Either, all black or all red or all whatever color you want. But instead I'm doing different colors. But yeah, these are actually color changing threads. It's just not the same thread for everything, if that makes sense. And then another 2 backwards. Kite is a good person. Kite is a good kitty. Give them many scritches, since my hands are currently full. Do you stream often, Kitty? I don't think I've seen you pop up very often. But do you mostly stream coding? Okay, so 1, 2, 3. One more. Hope I'm counting this right. I think I am. Scoot this over here. Ooh, yeah, that sounds entertaining. I'll have to tune in for some of those. Because coding is one of those things where theoretically, I know how it works. You type things in a specific language that makes the computer do the thing. But that's the extent of my knowledge. And I have a feeling that watching you do it would be extremely fascinating. So I'll definitely have to tune in. Come on. Untwist. There we go. Live coding a bot to control the chat just seems like a instigation to make chat go wild. Can you catch me, bot? Are you good enough to catch me, bot? Bwahahaha, etc. Two. Okay, so I've got a pretty decently sized skip backwards here, but I'm almost out of thread, so I think my best bet is to detach it and start another one. Let's see here. Come on. There we go. Let's do some quick stretches here. Because holding the hoop like that actually does cramp up my hand after a while. My stitching hand's fine, it's just the hand that's supporting the hoop tends to get a little bit stiff after a while. Alright. No, that's one strand. And there's another one. Come on. Unwind, you. There we go. Yeah, luckily I've never had carpal tunnel. Knock on wood. But I am definitely, because I'm also double jointed in my hands. The ball of my thumb and all of these knuckles are double jointed, which does make me more susceptible to injury and eventually arthritis in those joints. So I try to take care of them as best I can. My shoulders are also double jointed and I'm already having trouble with them, so I would like to try to take care of my hands as long as I can. Especially since so much of what I do involves my hands. Yeah, I'm not quite hypermobile, luckily, or at least I've never been diagnosed with it. But yeah, double jointed it's a fun party trick, but it has its downsides for sure. Alright, so I need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, oh, one too far. I can't turn mine completely around, and I won't do it on camera because I know it does freak people out, but I can pop this completely out of joint, and these fingers bend back farther than they should. I remember during kindergarten, the way my parents figured it out is because my teacher freaked out. She thought I was hurt because I was in kindergarten. I was only barely learning to write, and I was writing with my thumb out of joint because that was just how I held the pencil. And my teacher flipped out because she thought I'd hurt myself, but that's just what my thumb does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there. Okay. And then up 1. Yeah, so that one. There we go. Stay. Stay. There we go. Good. You can see with even just 2 stitches, it's pretty locked in. Oh, come on. I can tug on this and it's not going to go anywhere without ripping the cloth. So even just anchoring it with 2 or 3 stitches, you should be good to go. Come on. And I've got this one single stitch here out by itself, so I'm going to do a little bit of unorthodox hokey pokey here. Well, thank you for the follows, guys. Lokite and Tribeca, I appreciate that. Hopefully the notifications are actually popping on my layout. I have them set so that they're supposed to. But again, I have my pattern covering up my stream, so I'm just waiting for them to pop on Stream Manager to see them. Alright. I will play with that afterwards. They were popping when I emulated them through Stream Elements. I wonder what's different. And I did connect my Twitch. Oh well. I will play around with that. Yeah, that's supposed to be empty. I have not gotten around to formatting that yet. But down in the corner right above where I have my my YouTube credit for my music, I did have stream alerts set to pop there. I wonder why they're not. Because again, they were showing up when I was testing it before stream. Hopefully it's not something as stupid as I have it set behind my layout. Nope. I do not. It is on top. Huh. Interesting. Oh, that's a later SJ problem. Oh, I heard something. Did it pop that time? Huh. I wonder why that one popped and the others didn't. It's in the wrong place. Yeah, I'll go back and take a look at it after. Do we really want to know the answer to that, Dobby? The best answer. Yeah, I heard that one pop that time. It pinged. But I don't know why the others didn't. And I don't have it highlighted on OBS, so that's not it. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, okay. My video is apparently delayed enough that I just saw it pop. Oh, okay. So I don't know why it wasn't working, but I know why it's positioned like that. Because when I emulated it before, it was centered on the box that I have it in. And this time it's actually in the corner. Okay. It should be fixed now. Sort of. Don't know why it wasn't popping though. Thank you, Kitty. I appreciate all the troubleshooting from you guys. I clearly have very little idea of what I'm doing. I definitely appreciate all the help. Oh no, another kitty account. Another kitty account incoming. Yeah, there we go. That one popped in the right place. Yay. Okay, so that's fixed. Well, the position is fixed, and it does seem to be working now. Yet another mystery kitty account I've never seen before. Nah. Kitty over here artificially inflating my follower counts for troubleshooting purposes. Oh, come on. Also, Merlin, yeah, this is half a cross stitching. Swearing at your thread and carefully unknotting it. Be prepared for that. Yeah, I wondered if that was a Ben thing. Ah, cat furs. Kitty is a kitty of mystery. A kitty of many hats. Ears on stream next time. Ears on stream always. I was gonna say, do you have some of the... I mean, I have some of the kitty ear headphones, but they're actually really heavy. Because they've got the speakers in the ears, I actually don't like wearing them very often because they're really, really heavy. Alright, so next in 1, yep, and then 4. But then again, I think the ones I have, my wife got from the original kitty ear Kickstarter. So they're like, not prototype, but they're like generation 1. So they're probably a lot heavier than the ones that you get nowadays. Yeah, the headset I'm wearing is super lightweight. It's nice. The mic on it doesn't work, but that's fine because I have a better external mic anyway. Oh yeah, I think that'll be meant, are they headphone cat ears or are they just like headband cat ears? I've got some of those too. Come on, thread. Here we go. Well, I know what to put on Kitte's Christmas list. Alright, and that's that entire lower section done. So now I'm gonna have to pop back up here and do this bit. So to do that, I will just tie off my, well, not tie off. Fasten off? Yeah, fasten off my thread again. And here I've got a nice long row of stitches to squeeze it under. But again, as long as you get it under like 2 or 3, you're probably fine. Go on. There we go. Come on. Yeah, because trying to put it under more stitches just makes it harder to slide through. There we go. Okay. Alright, so I want guess I'll have to take a look. Yay, productive. That's kind of the other point of this stream. Half of it is to make sure I set aside time to do things, but like, please, by all means, if you have projects you're working on, take this time to work on them as well. Even if it's not like sewing related. Because I know Merlin's been using my stream times to draw. Nice. I'm glad. I'm glad I could provide like the spark of motivation. And yeah, I'm definitely eager to see pictures. Are you still working on code, Kite? That's fair. Yeah, because you're getting real close, eh? Alright, and then... skip forward to... where's my needle even? There it is. Oh, and that's where I need to be. 3. Nope, Merlin actually finished. They're able to play a decent amount on weekends, so I think you finished, what, last weekend, Merlin? Or Monday? But yeah, second trial is real good. I was so happy they let us trust it. 'Cause like that felt so narratively significant to be able to do that. I loved that. But yeah, you're getting really close to the end, Dobby. I mean, fair. You just gotta follow Y'shtola. She's the only one that doesn't stand in stuff. I mean, yeah. And I'm actually surprised at Y'shtola because I find in the dungeons she stands in stuff all the time. It's just that one particular trial where she's good. Like, for a while I was grinding Raktika with trusts because I needed to level, and Y'shtola was standing in stuff all the time. 2, 2. Oof, yeah. I like the trust system, mostly because I don't like playing with people a lot of the time. But yeah, it definitely has its quirks. Oh no. Yeah, I've never run that one as a tank. So, yeah, that's rough. I'm so sorry. But you got through it? Yeah. Okay, the squads were good for the time. And without the squads to build on, we wouldn't have gotten the trust system. But I'm so happy they're going back and revamping that. Yeah, that's fair, Dobby. Did you take a break right after that, I assume? You're about to get into some really good stuff, though. Like, the story from here on is, it gets... I mean, it's been good, but... I mean, you can always go back and rewatch the cutscene when you're in a bit of a better frame of mind, I think. Yeah, taking a break is always good. Oh yeah, and I always forget, it's late afternoon for you. Hey, that's a section done. Ta-da! Where do I anchor this? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I always forget you're an hour further than what I'm expecting. For some reason. There we go. I am. My DM is also in the UK, so I'm used to just thinking of the UK. And I don't know, for some reason, my brain just always thinks that the Netherlands should be on the same time zone, but you're 1 hour further. So, yeah, for some reason, I can't get that to stick in my brain. Okay. Now I have some choices. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Time zones are meant to mess us up. Um, could do the flower here. could probably do, I mean, I could do the other half of the green, but that's trying to stitch too close to the hoop is a pain in the butt. Or I could start some of the stuff that's along the outside here. I think maybe I'll go ahead and do this flower. Question is, do I want it to be the same thread as the one here? Or do I want it to be, or do I want it to do what I did with these flowers here and do two different ones? These leaves are all going to be the same. All four of them are. But This has enough different colors in it, because like these are just variation on the same colors. Like this is just shades of blue and this is just shades of yellow. This has enough different colors in it. I think I want to keep all four of them the same, because the striping on them is going to look a little bit different anyhow, just based on how the thread falls. So my question is, did I pull that thread out of the box? Don't think I did. I did not. All right, where is that thread? My magic box here. I should have it on a spindle already. Nope, that's the leaves. Ah, is that it? Nope, that's not it. That's the blue. That's pastels. That's purple. It's in here somewhere. Oh, did I use the wrong green? Oh, I did. Interesting. No wonder it matched. Weird. That's fine. I mean, it's this one, but I thought I had it on a spindle already. Casually rooting through. I should probably organize these better, eh? Wonder if it ended up on one of my other trays somewhere. I'm not exactly organized. We've been over this. Alright. Well, that's fine. Would it be Jay Cohen? Thank you for the follow, if you can hear me over the birds. Thank you for the follow, much appreciated. And I don't think my notification worked again, so that's odd. All right. You guys get the absolutely riveting sight of watching me wind thread for a minute. This just makes it much easier to work with later. Because having it in the skeins like this, it's much easier to tangle. So having it threaded on or rolled onto a bobbin like this is much easier in the long run. other thing I'm gonna do real fast is still have 2 strands of this green. The wrong green, but close enough. And usually what I do when I have 2 or 4 strands just left over is I just put them on the bobbin the opposite way, so that when I go to use this color again, I know I still have 2 strands ready to go. There we go. All right. Don't want to make it too long because then it's a pain to work with. Don't want to make it too short because then I'm changing too often. Yeah, that'll do. Separate out 2 strands here. There we go. Let's set the other 4 aside. All right, and now I should probably find that on my pattern. Oh, of course it's split between 2 again. Here's the first part. Luckily it's split horizontally, which makes it a little bit easier. Don't have to keep flipping back and forth between the pages like I did on the other one. Go. All right, so this line of 4, gap of 2, and then sure that's where I want it. There we go. Oh, never mind. Don't need to come up there. Like, so then I skip 2 in a row of 3. gonna casually fudge this single stitch. Technically should have started with this one, but because I was anchoring a thread, trying to anchor with a single stitch is not ideal. So I did the first row, and now I'm just gonna add that in. Makes the back a tiny bit messy, but not a big deal to me. And then skip one. Oh no! I'm sorry. Yeah, the mic is set up right next to the window, so even with the window closed, I'm on a pretty busy road, so I'm not surprised. Oh, poor doggo. It's like how Sasha keeps looking around every time the bird clock goes off. She's like, I hear them. Where are they? I could try and mask my mic a little bit more, but then I worry you wouldn't be able to hear me because I do have a pretty soft voice. If the traffic is too noticeable and annoying, let me know and I will bump up the noise gate a little bit. But I don't think even that would help with some of the big trucks that come roaring down this road. At the end of this row, I'm just gonna take a quick break here, get up and stretch, get some more water. I forgot to load in my break time screen like an idiot, so I'm just gonna transition back here. But yeah, everyone stretch, grab the bathroom if you need it, grab some more water, hydrate, and I will be back in just a few minutes. Alrighty. And then it's going to be the same row again. So what I'm doing when I'm moving my hoop out of frame is it's just my thread is starting to twist up and twist in on itself, and that makes it much more likely to tangle. So I'm just moving my hoop and flipping it upside down so that my thread dangles straight down and it'll spin itself out back to true straight. And that just helps keep it from tangling up on me. Somewhat. It's just 2 here. Maybe I'll alternate what I do each week. Do a week of patchwork, then a week of cross stitch, then a week of crochet. Or should I keep posting polls? I mean, if I alternate that way, I'm guaranteed to at least be working on each of the projects a little bit. Back 1 and 4. I know it's up to me. That's the problem. We'll see. It'll depend how I feel each week. This weekend I was kind of, I don't care. I could do any of them, which is why I put up the poll. But yeah, there's definitely days where it's like, all I want to do is sit down and crochet. So I guess we'll play it by ear for now. If I have no opinion, I'll post a poll. Yeah, that's the question. I mean, a lot of these are projects for people, but none of them have deadlines. And like the crochet blanket I'm working on and the patchwork blanket I'm working on are both for my siblings, so they can wait as long as they need to. The cardigan I'm working on is for Merlin, but I've been working on that actually quite a bit off stream because it's small enough that I can take it downstairs and work on it in front of the television. So that's not an issue. That'll be done fairly quickly whether I stream it or not. I guess it's more a matter of what I'm feeling like on that day. Because I do have a tendency where if I decide like, okay, yes, I want to finish this project for sure, and I do nothing but that, then I'll get burned out. Like I know myself well enough to know that. That's happened before. So, and that's part of why I have so many projects and so many different crafts, because I do tend to get burned out fairly easily and I need to rotate through them. But on the other hand, it's only once a week, so if people are super enjoying watching me do this or watching me do, you know, my patchwork, I don't mind doing that more often. Skip 1 and then 4. Huh? 1, 2, 3. Really? Oh, 5. Okay. Okay. So I want to be right there. And 3. Skip 2 and 3. other half of the flower pattern, which is, nope, nope, yes, that one. Okay. Oh, there's the eagle. Okay, so is that 1, 2, 3? Yeah, so it's straight down. And then skip 1 and 3. And then skip 1. All right. Well, I am starving. The chickadee says it's 2 o'clock, and I've got to go see Ollie. Got to go see a cat about some kibble. So I'm going to finish this line and then call it a day. Thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you for my new followers. Thank you for the raid, Kite. I know you've probably already scootled off to Julie, but thank you anyhow. Hopefully this was somewhat instructive for you, Merlin. Hopefully at least getting to... Oh, you're still here! Thank you. I greatly enjoy this. Like I said, it forces me to sit down and work for at least 3 hours a week. So yeah, I like this very much, and I will continue doing this. And I'm glad. Yeah, cross stitch is probably one of those things where I can explain it in words as much as I want, but getting to actually see the process of it probably helps a lot more. Yeah, you too, Dobby. Have a good evening. I'm just gonna finish these last couple, and then I'll call it a day. I will probably send you guys Julie words. I presume she is doing Final Fantasy. I haven't actually looked. So W, you might want to pop off anyway. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and I will see you probably Wednesday to play some Pokemon. If you're not into Pokemon, then I will see you next Sunday for more of this, or yarn, or patchwork. I don't know yet. If you want to take a look at what I'm doing during the week, if you want a chance to vote on polls for what I'm doing, follow me on Instagram. The link should be on my About page. So, yeah. Thank you all for joining me this week, and I will see you guys next week. Oh, thank you, Kite. Yeah, it'll be Wednesday evening. It'll be, yeah, probably closer to midnight your time, Dobby. Here's my Julie. There's Julie. Alright. I will send you guys Julie words, and thank you very much for joining me.